Hey guys, I would like to do an activity with Desmos because y'all are familiar with your graphing calculator, but you should have other tools in your tool belt in case you don't happen to have your calculator, or if you're taking a different class and you want to have a different tool for graphing. Desmos allows us to do some different graphs than our graphing calculator will even allow, such as things that are not functions, say a circle for example. So today's lesson includes looking at Desmos with a graphing activity. If you go to desmos.com, it will take you here. You can click the graphing calculator button and it gives you a blank graph and a place to type in equations. Here in Desmos, there's a couple ways you can write things. So you can actually write out something simple like just the back half of an equation, say x, and there's a exponent above the 6, the caret key, just like on your calculator. You could say x cubed and then plus 4, and it will graph a cubic function with 4 here. There's a button on the bottom where you can show a keypad and it will show you other things that you could plug in. So perhaps you want to do the square root. So you could use that to type in maybe the square root button, the square root of x minus 5. And then when you have those graphed, you can move your graphs around. You can use the scroll in and out button to zoom in or out. It's all very intuitive. I like Desmos a lot. But you can also graph things that we can't graph on our graphing calculator. For example, this is not a function. X squared plus y squared. We've been doing circles. Here's a circle. Equals 4. So this is not a function. It's a circle. It doesn't pass the vertical or horizontal line tests, but Desmos will let you graph it. In fact, Desmos will let us graph a whole bunch of things that fall under this category. This is also not a function. We will graph conic sections later in the year. But it's really cool because we can do all kind of interesting things that we couldn't graph on our calculator. This green one is hard to see. You can click these buttons on the side and the other ones will disappear. I haven't lost them, but they haven't disappeared. Going back to these equations, if I want it to look like a function, I could write y equals and it will graph the same thing. If I hit enter, nope, it didn't graph it. There it goes. Okay. So you can type it explicitly with just the x cubed plus 4. You can put y equals. You can graph things that aren't functions. You can turn things on or off. You can go to settings here and graph them in different ways. So perhaps I want to graph this one but with a dotted line. I could change that to a dotted line. I could change the color. I can make the line thicker. There's all kind of cool stuff that you could do. So I could make that line 5 and it's really fat and dotted. So lots of things that you can do with the sides. This was under settings here with the gear. All right, so let's see what our assignment is. And I'm going to delete these out of here with the X. Okay, so our assignment, I'm going to go through a mock example so you know what to do with your assignment. And I'm going to make this graph bigger and move it over a little bit so that I can get everything in here. All right, so here's our assignment. It's posted in Google Classroom. Let me make it a little bit smaller so that I can squeeze everything in there. All right. So going through a mock example, I want you to watch the video. It's what we're doing now. We're going to create graphs of your own, and this is what I want you to graph for me. And then take a picture of your Desmos and upload it, add it to this assignment, and just post this. That will be what I need for you to do for Desmos. So in here, the things I need to graph, I'm going to start with a mock birthday. This is not my birthday. We'll just do something simple like, let's do Jesus' birthday, 12. I need in month and then day. So 12/25. We're going to do Christmas. That means that in the next thing that I want to fill out here, it says parabola with vertex as your birthday. I'm going to say that is y equals x minus the day, so x minus 25, and then I need to have a squared in there. That's how we write out squared. I don't need you to make it formed properly for the Google Doc, just something that we can follow, and then plus the month, so 12. So I'm going to add this to my mock-up here. Okay, squared. It wouldn't be a quadratic without the squared. So I've got month and day. This is my parabola. I'm going to go back to Desmos and plug that in. Y equals parentheses x minus 25 parentheses. I can use the squared down here and it will square it, a squared. And then it says plus 12 and enter. And I can't see anything in my graph because it's up 12 and it's over here at 25. So I've got a vertex right here at 25, 12. I can, it says plot the vertex point 25, 12, 25, 12, parentheses, and I do want to label it, check the box. So now it's labeled. So I've moved my graph around so I can see my parabola. That makes sense for me. I want to plot the vertex point. I did that. You're going to type it in here, 25, 12. I want to find the line of axis of symmetry for the parabola. So that's a vertical line. It's either going to go through 25 or 12. You have to figure out what that is. In my case, it's going to go through 25 and it's vertical, crosses the x-axis at 25. And it's graphed right here. So I'm going to type that in here as well. X equals 25. The tangent line, the vertex of my parabola. So we've talked about parabolas and the slope on this side is decreasing. The slope at the vertex is 0 and the slope after this is increasing. But it's a curve, so they change all the way down and then it's 0 at the vertex and then it starts to go up again. But the tangent line is going to touch this 1.2512. It's going to be a horizontal line, which is y equals. And this time it's going to go through 12. Now I have the tangent line to my equation. So I've got x equals 25 and y equals 12. The next part, it doesn't tell you exactly what to plot. It says find the point where x equals and it's blank here. Now, I had thought about choosing a number, but because our parabolas are in such different places depending on what day our birthday is, I didn't know what to put here because it's not going to be really close to this window to see it. So what I want you to do is choose an x value. You get to choose it somewhere around the day. So not the day of your birthday, but somewhere around it. So maybe I'm going to put 20 for this one. So if I put 20, then I'm going to find this point where x equals 20 and x equals 20. I'm getting closer. See how I'm moving along? Oh, I found it. 2037. Where was it? There it is. 2037. So it was 2037, and it's a point. And I could definitely plug that into my equation. So if I plug in 20 into this equation, it's going to be 5 squared, right? Because 20 minus 25 is negative 5 squared is 25 plus 12. Is going to be 37, so that's my point, 2037. So you get to choose in this one what your x value is going to be, but you want it somewhere near your vertex so you can see what's going on. And this next one's kind of interesting. So we're going to make a slider here. So in this slider, I'm trying to find, just like this green line is the tangent with horizontal slope at the vertex, I want to find a tangent line to this dot. So it's going to be a decreasing line, negative slope, and I don't know what the slope is going to be. So I'm going to make the equation of a line that goes to this point like this. Y minus the y value, we're 37. So I'm using this point right here. Whoops, there it is. I'm using this point, 2037. Y minus 37 equals, and I don't know the slope yet, So I'm going to call that n for a number that I don't know. And then x minus 20. So what I have here is an equation with x and y, but also something I don't know. And Desmos says, do you want to add a slider? And I'm going to click the slider and say yes. And now I have a slope right now where n equals 1. So I'm going to turn off some of these other lines. I'm going to turn off the green one, the blue one, and I'm just going to look at, I'm going to change this color too. So this one, if I go to settings, I'm going to make this one purple and dotted so I can see it clearly. All right, done. So now what the slider does is when I move the slider, it will change the slope because n represents slope. Again, this is y minus y, slope x minus x, and watch what happens when you pull the slider around. So I've got positive slope here. If I go all the way around past 0, now I've got some negative slope, but this is not what my function is doing. It's crossing my function, so I need to make it even more negative. This is not quite it either. I'm going to keep going and see if I can guess what the slope will be. So that's pretty close to tangent. It might be a little bit off right here. I could zoom in and see. Yep. So tangentially means it only touches once and my dotted line is over it. So I can, oopsies, I can move it just a little bit more. That's pretty close. I think that's it. So when I zoom back out, I've got a tangent line, and that represents the slope at this point. So what looks like is if n is -10, that I would guess the slope at this point, which the point is 20, 37, I would guess that the slope is -10, and that's a good guess. And you could do that for any point. So you could pick any other point and make a slider. It's really easy to do. And then when you've got slope, I would like for you to put it here. So my equation is, I'm not going to put n, I'm going to put the -10. So I'm going to say y minus 37 equals -10 x minus 20. So what happened is, in this part, it says find the point and you get to choose a value somewhere near the vertex. You have to plug it into your equation up here and figure out the y value and then tell me what the point is. Once you know the point, you want to graph it, and then you're trying to find the tangent line at that point. So it's just using Desmos to figure something out. And because this is a pre-calculus class, one of the things that we're going to do in calculus is find the slope of tangent lines. So if we have an idea about how to do that, a visual, it will make next year make much more sense. So now I have all this graphed. For the assignment, the part that you're going to paste down here at the bottom, I want you to turn everything back on so it's lit. And that's silly. Look, oh, it just goes around. I pushed the play button. That's awfully fun. But I could stop it at -10. There we go. And that gave me my slope. So now take a snapshot, and this is what you would upload. You're welcome to play with other things, but I would like to have all the things in the chart for your Desmos activity. Email me if you have questions.